Dwayne "Dog" Chapman has had a life like an action movie, filled with excitement, heartbreak, and drama. He went from being in a motorcycle gang to starring in a popular reality TV show. His journey is far from typical. But what caused this seemingly unstoppable man to nearly lose everything? Behind his famous sunglasses and bounty hunting fame lies a story full of unexpected turns and hidden truths. So what really happened to Dog the bounty hunter? Dwayne "Dog" Chapman, the famous bounty hunter, had a challenging childhood that influenced who he is today. He was born in Denver, Colorado, and grew up in a working-class family. His father, who worked as a Navy welder and later as a bail bondsman, was strict and often abusive. His mother, a Sunday school teacher, tried to teach strong values to her children. At first, Dwayne thought his childhood was pretty normal, but later he recognized how tough it really was. His father had a bad temper and often hurt him, which Dwayne found very difficult. Dwayne had a tough childhood. His dad, nicknamed Flash because of his boxing talent, taught him to fight since he was young, thinking it would make him stronger. But Dwayne just wanted his dad's love and approval. When he turned 16, he chose to leave home and joined a motorcycle gang called the Devil's Disciples, which was a big change from his religious upbringing with a preacher mom and weekly church visits. He viewed himself as a strong preacher and always stood up for his faith, even getting into a fight with someone who disrespected Jesus. This led to him being called Dog, a nickname that a biker said was God spelled backward. He accepted this name and the identity that went along with it. In the 1970s, Dog the Bounty Hunter met his first wife, LaFonda Sue Darnell, while living in Denver. They quickly fell in love and got married in 1972 after a couple of years of dating. Their life together took them to... They lived in different places before settling in Pampa, Texas, where Leonda was from. The couple had two sons, Dwayne Lee Chapman and Leland Chapman. As their family grew, so did problems in their marriage. Chapman faced legal issues that put stress on their relationship. In 1976, Chapman was involved in a drug deal that went wrong. While he waited in the car, a friend argued with the dealer, Oliver, and sadly shot him. Even though Chapman was outside when the crime happened, Texas law still held him responsible because he didn't report it. He was charged with murder and sentenced to 5 years in prison, but he only served 18 months. His time in prison was a turning point for him. While there, he worked as a barber for the guards and helped during a serious situation when an inmate tried to escape. Chapman stepped in and prevented the guards from using deadly force. Chapman, after showing bravery, a man gained respect and a recommendation from a guard that changed his life. After getting out of prison early, Chapman faced a lot of child support debt. Looking for a quick way to make money, he decided to become a bounty hunter. The judge in his case even supported this choice, seeing that Chapman had the strength and skills needed for the job. Leonda wanted a new beginning, but by 1977, the weight of her situation became too much, and she filed for divorce. After that, Chapman sought a new partner. He wrote in his book that he met a teal at a biker party in Colorado that same year, and they connected well. That night, when he offered to take her home, she revealed she was only 17. To stay out of trouble, he married her the next day, even though he later admitted they hardly knew each other. They probably wouldn't have married if she hadn't been underage, even though their marriage wasn't perfect. Chapman and Tegnell had 3 children. Sadly, their first child, Zebediah, died shortly after birth. They also had 2 sons named Wesley and James. However, their relationship couldn't handle the pressure, and they divorced in 1982. After the divorce, Chapman faced a hard time losing custody of his kids, but he was determined to reconnect with them. Dwayne Lee and Leland went to Colorado. While there, Dwayne met Lisa Ray Bertain at a bar. He told her he wanted to have a child with her and even offered her money. Surprisingly, Lisa agreed, left her husband, married Dwayne, and they had 3 kids. However, their marriage didn't last. They rushed into marriage and realized they were not a good match. Dwayne wanted a glamorous Hollywood life, while Lisa preferred a peaceful life in the woods. Their disagreements eventually led to their divorce in 1991, leaving Chapman single again. His next wife, Tinny, entered his life while he was still married to Lisa Bertain. In his book, Chapman explains that their story started in 1988 when he arrested Tinny for drug possession. A few years later, he hired her as his secretary, and they soon fell in love. Tinny wanted a serious relationship, but Dog wasn't ready for that. However, after some pressure from her, he eventually agreed. From the beginning, their marriage had problems. Dog had issues with substance use and admitted to cheating. Things got worse after Dog's mother died, leading him into depression and more substance abuse. While still married to Tani, he started an affair with Beth Smith. Many know Beth as Dog the Bounty Hunter's wife and partner, but their story began long before they became famous. In 1988, Beth was on the run from the law. She later explained that her problems began when she was accused of stealing 2 lemons from a grocery store. While trying to make a call at a payphone, she stepped outside with the lemons and got arrested. To make things worse, Beth had an unlicensed gun and several unpaid traffic tickets. To get out of jail, she called Dog, a bail bondsman, who sent the paperwork by bus, leaving her in jail for 12 hours. When the paperwork finally arrived, she was released. At his office, she tried to act calm, but Dog could see right through her. Beth later confessed that she was completely in love and wanted him for herself. The attraction between Dog and Beth was clear, but they faced some difficulties. Despite his marriages, other girlfriends, and battles with addiction, Dog and Beth stayed close. By 1997, Dog, his children, and Beth all moved in together. They later got married and started a successful bail bonds business called Dine Bail Bonds, which really took off. In 2003, Dog helped catch Andrew Luster, the heir to the Max Factor fortune, who was wanted for sexually assaulting several women. Dog tracked him down in Mexico, but bounty hunting is illegal there, so Dog was arrested at the border. He had to pay bail to free himself and his team. Ironically, Dog couldn't legally arrest anyone in the U.S. because of his criminal record. A spokesperson for the Florida Bail Bondsman Association even said his actions could be considered illegal. In 2004, Dog the Bounty Hunter started airing on A&E, and it quickly gained popularity. For almost 10 years, viewers watched Dog as he tracked down fugitives and handled tough situations. His memorable style, which included a wild mullet and big sunglasses, helped him stand out. Dog mentioned that he chose his look to scare off fugitives, and his wife Beth pointed out that the show was more than just catching criminals. At its core, it was about helping people and giving second chances. The show became a massive hit, but Dog's fiery personality, which made him a star, also brought trouble in 2007. Dog faced backlash when a private phone call between him and his son was leaked. During the conversation, Dog used a racial slur and expressed concern that it could ruin his career if made public. The recording was published by the National Enquirer, and the response was swift. Andy put the show on hold and launched an investigation. Dog issued public. He apologized for the pain his words caused and promised to improve. On CNN, he expressed regret and vowed never to use the offensive term again. His honesty convinced the network, and the show returned to air. With his long blonde hair, signature sunglasses, and Beth's impressive skill in catching fugitives in high heels, Dog the Bounty Hunter became very popular. The family's motivational talks before each mission were memorable, and the show remained a fan favorite for 8 years. In a surprising decision, Andy canceled the show even though it was still popular, leaving fans shocked. Meanwhile, the Chapman family started a new chapter with their show Dog and Beth on the Hunt on CMT. Although it was a fresh start, they faced challenges. The bail bond industry they cared about encountered serious problems, which led them to pause filming while they tried to defend their profession. After a short break from TV, Dog and Beth came back, but in 2017, Beth was diagnosed with throat cancer, and she shared this sad news with her fans in a heartfelt letter, promising to fight hard. After surgery to remove a tumor, there was hope when she was declared cancer-free in November. However, that happiness didn't last long. Just a year later, Beth had another surgery and learned that the cancer had come back. Despite her serious illness spreading to her lungs, Beth refused to give up. By late 2018, she saw her fight as just another challenge in her life. On June 26, 2019, Beth passed away. Dwayne announced her passing, saying she had gone to heaven and was deeply loved. In her last moments, Beth avoided looking at him, believing it was because she knew he was losing hope and wanted him to stay strong. He tried to lift her spirits by saying she would be okay, even though he had doubts inside. People say that knowing the truth about Beth's loss was very hard to bear, and her grief was clear. In the end, Beth told Dog to let her go. He found it hard to accept, unable to picture life without her. But before he could say anything, she took her last breath. Beth's death affected Dog the Bounty Hunter more than anyone realized. In a heartfelt interview with Dr. Oz, he shared his deepest pain, saying he couldn't stop crying and even thought about ending his life. He thankfully decided not to go through with it, but it showed how much he was suffering. Besides his emotional pain, he was also facing serious money problems. He told the Toronto Star that Beth's medical bills and the expenses of their large family had exhausted his finances. He was close to losing his home because he couldn't keep up with the mortgage. It was a difficult time, and losing Beth made everything feel worse. A few months after she died, he began to have chest pains. At first, he didn't take his trouble breathing seriously, assuming it was just heartbreak. He felt his heart was broken and thought it was all in his head, but when the symptoms continued, he decided to get medical help. Like many men, he often ignored health issues, and his partner Beth had always encouraged him to take care of himself. After she was gone, he didn't prioritize his health. Luckily, Dr. Oz helped him see the importance of getting tested, and they even recorded the process on his show, highlighting how crucial it was to take these health issues seriously. Dog admitted to being a heavy smoker since the age of 12, smoking up to 3.5 packs a day for over 40 years. Despite this, doctors found that his heart was surprisingly healthy, but there was a major issue, a blood clot in his lungs, something known as a pulmonary embolism. Duraz explained how dangerous this condition could be as the clot blocks blood flow to the lungs, creating a life-threatening situation. Determined to turn things, Dark decided to stop smoking and began using nicotine patches. He also went to therapy to deal with the emotional issues behind his smoking. With support from Dr. Oz and his team, Dog made positive changes in his life. After facing these challenges, he got a new show called Dog's Most Wanted on WGN. Dog the Bounty Hunter is known for catching some of the most dangerous criminals, including a notable capture of Leonard Trudeau Jr. Trudeau had a long history of crime, including armed robbery and assaulting a police officer. He was on the run, but a dog and his team worked hard to find him. The search lasted for 12 tough days as they chased him across southern Colorado, determined not to let him escape. When they got closer, they confidently announced that Trudeau's time was running out. They were right. When they finally caught him, there was a fight, and Trudeau got a bloody head in the process. Even while he yelled insults, Dog and his team stayed strong, jokingly calling themselves God's gangsters. That day wasn't just about True, they also arrested 4 more people, which they celebrated as a big success. These dramatic events were shown in an episode of Dog's Most Wanted, filmed just a few months after Beth's death, making it a tough time for the team. After Beth passed away, Dog's life took some surprising turns. 7 months later, rumors started that he was dating Moon Angel, a family friend, which caught a lot of attention. His daughter Lissa created tension by calling Angel a homewrecker on social media and accusing Dog of being fake. Meanwhile, Dog talked about how Angel had supported him during difficult times. Things got even more surprising when Dog proposed to Angel live on the Dr. Oz show, leaving her shocked and saying they were just friends. Later, Dog clarified that the proposal was not serious and was just a way to see how people would react. After Beth passed away, Dog said he wouldn't get married again. However, life changed when he met Francie, who was also grieving her husband's death from cancer. Dog initially contacted her for help with some household tasks, but they ended up bonding over their shared experiences of loss. They found comfort in each other and often talked about their late spouses, Beth and Francie's husband. The husband and wife were supporting each other as they dealt with their sadness. Dog and Francie started dating in March 2020, and by May, he had proposed. Many people were upset about how quickly he moved on from Beth, but Dog said that if Beth were alive, she would have wanted him to be happy. In September 2021, Dwayne and Francie got married and began sharing parts of their life together on social media, posting photos and videos of their adventure. Shortly after that, Dog released a movie called Hunter's Creed. On his life after Beth's passing, he also signed a deal with a streaming service called Unleashed for a new show, Dog Unleashed, where he continued his pursuit of dangerous criminals. However, controversy struck in 2021 when Michael Donovan, the president of Unleashed, sued Dog, accusing him of making racist and homophobic remarks on set and illegally using a taser. The lawsuit claimed Dog used the taser to intimidate someone while filming the canceled show, which would be illegal due to his prior murder conviction. Dog argued the taser was just. The lawsuit said one thing, but the Dog's lawyers called the accusations retaliation from Donovan after their business deal failed. They said the claims would be dismissed, and the Dog promised to sue Donovan for defamation. Meanwhile, the Dog had another problem. By 2022, he owed $1 in unpaid taxes. He owed $6 million in taxes in Colorado and Hawaii, which led him to make tough financial choices. He sold the Colorado mansion he and Beth bought 13 years ago for $750,000. Thanks to a strong housing market, he sold it for about $1,150,000, helping him pay off his debts. Though Dog the Bounty Hunter isn't on TV as much now, he still attracts attention. Recently, he caused a stir during a public event with a televangelist when he went on a rant. Transgender influencer Dylan Mulvaney faced backlash because of comments that misgendered him and made threatening remarks. This renewed discussions about his bold personality. Meanwhile, another influencer known as Dog has started a new phase in his life as a Christian influencer. He wrote a book called 9 Lives and Counting, where he talks about his journey to faith. Dog feels his purpose has changed from bounty hunting to helping others spiritually. However, he admits he hasn't completely left his old life behind, completely behind. He describes himself as a Christian outlaw, someone who's just as passionate about chasing fugitives as he is about helping others find redemption.